Happy Friday to you all. It's late. I had a long day, but I'm going to be short. I don't want to be too long because I got a busy one tomorrow. So I'm just going to jump right into it. Whoever comes on, just come on. So the numbers for coronavirus is, for the global confirmed cases, is 189,474,860. Global death toll is 4,074,680. U.S. confirmed cases is as follows: 34,052,871. And the U.S. death toll is 608,813. So those are the numbers for COVID. In terms of the vaccination rates here in the country, the vaccination rates by states. In terms of New York, given 22.4 million, 10.9 is fully vaccinated. And that is 55.8% of the state. So we're not at herd immunity. I live in New York City. So the city is, half of the city is vaccinated. And we're the most populated city in the state. California is 44 million people. 20.4 million are fully vaxxed. 51.5% is vaccinated. Texas is 26.5 million doses given, and 12.4 is fully vaccinated. That's 42.6%. Hi, Scott. How you doing? Florida is 21.7 million. 10.2 million folks are vaccinated. That's 47.3%. Pennsylvania has 14.2 million people, and 6.45 million are vaccinated. That's 51%. So Pennsylvania and California is neck to neck by each other. The lowest vaccination rates in the United States of America is North Dakota, which has 652,000 people, and only 301,000 people are fully vaxxed at 39.5%. So most of these states, Republican states like South Dakota, has 834 million people that received the dose. Those are who have received the dose, but not a lot is fully vaccinated. So pretty much this disinformation from Republicans is ridiculous. And even, some black people are falling for the okie doke. Like, what do you, what? Like, this vaccine is saving your life. This vaccine was actually worked on. Moderna and Pfizer was worked on. Especially Moderna was worked on for the last 10 years from Dr. Kizzy herself. So this vaccine is safe. I took it. My mother took it. My sister and my brother-in-law took it. My other sister had her second dose of Pfizer. My father had his first dose. So, and many other people I know had either Moderna or Pfizer. So they have the vaccine and nothing is wrong with them. And they still wear their masks in large crowds, or even when they're walking outside. The only time people probably take off their masks that I know of, when they sit on a bench at a park by themselves, because it's fresh air and they are still a distance. Even though you took the vaccine, you still should practice social distancing, and you should still practice wearing your mask when you are in large crowds, because most of the country is not vaccinated. We're not at a place of herd immunity. It's impossible. So I encourage people to do research. Listen to Dr. Kizzy. Dr. Kizzy. You can follow her on Instagram. You can follow her on Twitter. Follow her on Facebook, or search for her on YouTube, because she is the one that developed this vaccine and it's been worked on for the last 10 years. Stop listening to disinformation from Republicans and from other high-tech folks who took the vaccine already. And the crazy part is the Republican law officials and these media outlets, and even some of these black people with high following, they took the vaccine. They safe. They're not going to tell you they took the vaccine, but they took the vaccine. The only reason why they're not saying it because this vaccine was created by a black woman. Truth to be told. And no, there's no COVID in the vaccine, because if it was COVID in the vaccine, I would have been on a goddamn ventilator. And if not, I would have been suffering from a lot of, pre-existing conditions. And last time I checked, I don't have pre-existing conditions. The only one I have is anemia, and that's before COVID. I didn't get no pre-existing condition from this vaccine. I'm fine. I'm good. So I urge people to do their research and get vaccinated. And wear your mask. But I know some people not going to get vaccinated. And the ones that's not vaccinated, they should be wearing their goddamn mask all the goddamn time. And not walk around and spreading your hot breath to people. Because I don't want you in my space. Respect my space. And this is before COVID, during COVID, and probably post-COVID. Respect my space. Period. Now I want to get into this voting rights issue because I heard, well, yesterday, Representative Joyce Beatty was arrested for protesting voting rights, you know, for black folks, because, you know, there's, exactly, Sky, because there's a massive of, you know, voter suppression bills passed in most of the Republican-led states to keep black people from voting, because of Donald Trump's lie of saying that he won the election and the election was stolen from him and voter fraud, and which is not true, because even his own election security director said at the time this was the most safest election ever versus 2016, which he cheated, which that report came out. Everybody knew that. What took so long? I have no idea. But back to this thing. Joyce Beatty was arrested. But the whole point about what I'm about to say is voting rights is under assault. And the one Democratic senator, my mom called him a Republican. He's still a Democrat. He's just a conservative Democrat. He's always been a conservative Democrat. Joe Manchin skips town to go to Texas to a Republican fundraiser. You know voting rights is under assault. And even probably in the state is going to be under assault soon. And you go to a fundraiser for Republicans? That's why I say, yes, cinema is a piece of work. But Joe Manchin is the one that I always been side-eyeing for a very, very long time. Because Kristen Sinema is actually a co-sponsor of the For the People Act. Believe it or not. Joe Manchin, on the other hand, is just a piece of shit. But the media keeps putting these two, even though they for, you know, this filibuster, which is stupid, which they need to get rid of the filibuster all the way. But Joe Manchin is the one that knows completely better than anybody else. So when people blame Chuck Schumer for his party's fraction, no, blame Joseph Manchin III. Because he's the one that's the holdup of everything in progress. Because as much as Joe Biden can use his executive powers, who's to say the next president will be elected will eliminate that? Look what happened with the Obama legacy, how Donald Trump just dismantled everything that President Obama did. Everything. Every goddamn thing. So it needs to be a law. It needs to be an executive order, but it also needs to be a law by Congress. So the Senate, Joe Manchin really needs to get his shit together. And we also need to campaign for more Senate seats. Reasonable stuff that run on stuff that you actually pass. Not running on some new Green New Deal and Medicare for all, because we already know that that's not going to sell. Most of the country is still in the middle. They're still in the middle. Believe it or not, they're still in the middle. And we're not going to believe no white hippie man that doesn't wear deodorant, who think they're for us, but they really, just like the white conservatives and the white moderates, they're just like them. And it is what it is. But now, I got to read some folks, because y'all know Nina Turner is running for Congress. And she is, she has an opponent, and it's Chantay Brown, who is an actual elected official in the Ohio 11th Congressional District in Cleveland. She's a party chairwoman. And it's interesting that Nina Turner is all of a sudden running running as a moderate and a centrist. Which is funny, But now she's reverting back to her old stomping speech of Medicare for all and the Green New Deal, like that's going to fly with people in Cleveland. And the only reason why she was high in the polls at the time, because of name ID. But now these endorsements are coming to Chantay Brown, national endorsements and local endorsements. Nina is desperate. Your girl is desperate. But her supporters online, they like the worst. They are the absolute worst. So I am just going to just pull up some tweets because it's time to read some folks, because people think I'm that one and I'm not. So these little teeny bopper Warren Knights online, I guess, you know, they seem to have hatred for black women. And it's so sad because there's some people from the Warren camp, they follow me and they're not disrespectful, and they got over it. We all united, but obviously this person is not united. So this little boy named Tucker, I don't know who he is. I can really give two fucks, but have the nerves to quote my tweets and quote my tweets more than once. He said, I love how even though the poll was proven to be fake, K-Hive ran with it, and now they're convinced that Chantay Brown is actually winning. So I said Tucker doesn't have a problem with Hillary Clinton, Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, and Joe Biden, but he has an issue with Kamala Harris. I got it. That's why I will always side-eye white leftists, including young ones like Tucker. And you know what? I will. Because I don't mess with children. I don't play with children. So that's one child. Because I'm going to sum it up in one. Because I got people to read all day, every day. And here goes another one. And she was all up in my shit. So this girl, Alex. Hi, Isaiah. Alex has been on my fucking tweets. Like, I think she's obsessed with me. And honestly, like I said, I don't prefer women. I prefer men. Because I do like the real thing. But here we go. It's funny how people try to deflect when they openly lie on their timeline. As I said, Alex Dean is so obsessed with my social media account because she's been quoting my tweets. I just so happened to find out yesterday. And then didn't even say this instead. Because I saw a poll about Chantay Brown leading with 43% at the time. And now it's neck and neck with her and Nina. So what you got to say now? And then she just went on. It's some screenshots. I'll just pull up the screenshots because there's a lot that she done. And then she also, you know, I said this to her. Where is it? I said, like you, who deletes their tweets every time you get called out? I swear you online leftists are the worst thing next to Trump supporters. Your disrespect towards black leaders like Jim Clyburn and other black elected leaders is remotely disgusting. So she protected her tweets yesterday and now she unprotected them. So here's my thing with these little teeny boppers for Warren, right? I have nothing against your candidate. I have nothing against, you know, progressivism. What I have an issue with is people bastardizing the term progressive and coming after black people that's been doing the work, the groundwork for years. People like Representative Jim Clyburn, who got his head bashed in for years, was in prison and met his wife in prison, Medi, and then marched and got arrested again. Beaten up by state troopers. But you little piece of shit, little twit ass, online young leftists got nothing better to do than fuck with old people like me. So here's the thing. I don't play with children. I am old enough to be these kids' parents. So my advice to you little white young leftists, watch how you messing with older black people. Even ones in their 30s that can be your parents. Because trust me, you don't want your feelings hurt on this app and you don't want this smoke. And if you tell your mother, if your mother got a problem, let me deal with your mother. Get your mom, because I will deal with her. Until then, stay the fuck out of my mentions. It's just plain and simple. Minding your business and staying out of my mentions is free of charge. It only takes you passing the fuck by. Now, it's just more fuckery. So this woman, her name is Veda, aka Podcast Bay. I guess she's a podcaster in Los Angeles, based. I'm assuming she's a black leftist. Had this to say about the vice president. People love symbolism. We just gonna ignore that bitch whose hand the little girl is holding and the white supremacist she's talking to work tirelessly to lock a black people. But isn't that cute? And then she had this to say. I'm going to play the audio.
Thurgood Marshall, the people, we've been taught this in school. Who do they teach you to praise and honor? The people that were peaceful. The people that were about assimilation. Jackie Robinson, perfect example.
Yeah, right? Thurgood Marshall.
Thurgood Marshall, the people who, even in media, they praise people like Harry Belafonte and Sidney Poitier because of the type of roles they play. They play dignified roles, you know? And not to say that there's anything wrong with playing the roles they played. But to look at the bigger picture, the reason why they were praised, right? Because this idea comes that there's a certain way that you're supposed to be. There's a certain way you're supposed to behave. There's a certain way you're supposed to fight for your rights. Mm-hmm. One of those ways is by not fighting. And one of the key things we're hearing all these politicians say is violence is not the answer. Meanwhile, it was the answer when they were allegedly looking for a drug dealer.
Yep.
But the answer then.
Yep.
Now, when we're talking about justice and when we're talking about, hey, wait a minute, this shit is not what's up. Oh, there's no violence. But we've been conditioned to see nonviolence as the way we're supposed to seek justice. We've been conditioned to see the system.
All that could sound fine and dandy if you didn't disrespect the very people that came before you and disrespect the people that got hurt and damn near almost got killed for you to talk the shit that you talk, to have a platform that you can talk. So Miss Veda, wherever the fuck you are, let me just say this to you. The vice president did not lock up parents and kids. You could do the research yourself. She locked up sexual homicidal predators. So once again, let me just say this to Miss Veda. Because it seems like, this girl Veda, this podcaster. Ooh, I had the burp. But to Veda, it's time to address you. First of all, the vice president, Kamala Harris, did not lock up parents and young men. No. She locked up sexual predators who prey on children and women. You can look that shit up. She didn't lock people up for weed. She didn't lock people up, parents up for truancy. She didn't. She didn't. And then you're disrespecting the very same people that fought for your rights to talk the shit that you talk on your platform. If it wasn't for the same Thurgood Marshall, Harry Belafonte, Jackie Robinson, you would not be talking the talk that you talk today or sitting in the chair that you're sitting in today. So Veda, you need to get better content because you're like, what, almost 4,000 followers in? And I don't even know why these people fucking follow you, because that shit you just spewed was some bullshit. You are the motherfucking people that keep spreading misinformation and fucking up our kids' heads. So girl, you need to revamp your page, work on your content, and stop having rusty looking ass motherfuckers on your podcast. It's my word of advice. And yeah, keep the vice president's name out your motherfucking mouth if you have nothing else to say. And her name is not bitch. Her name is Vice President Kamala Davy Harris. If you can't say that, say Madam Vice President or Vice President, or just don't motherfucking say nothing. I don't get people. I don't understand. I don't understand these hoes. Like, I don't understand why people like Veda keep disrespecting the vice president. Like, why you keep disrespecting people because you want likes and clicks and shit? Like, I know you're struggling to get more followers, but shit, you gotta disrespect a black woman, the highest ranking black woman in politics ever? And then you disrespected people like Harry Belafonte, Thurgood Marshall, and Jackie Robinson, who fought for your rights to have a platform, because black people couldn't even be on TV or social media. None of this bullshit, right? I couldn't be talking the shit that I'm talking today. So the fact is that you disrespecting black leaders that actually marched and fought for our rights is just motherfucking astonishing. Like I said to Veda, you know, work on your content, revamp your page, and stop having crusty, high-tech looking ass motherfuckers to disrespect black women and legendary black people. Because you motherfuckers don't even have a leg to stand on. You guys are struggling to get clicks and likes. And for that clip, you only got what? 267 people that like that shit? No wonder why you came after the vice president. No wonder. But like I said, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything. And for the last time, it's not bitch. It's Vice President Kamala Davy Harris. Period. Now, I would like to address the folks who has something to say about Chantay Brown's endorsements. And I'm going to look that up because it's only a quick internet search. You know, Google is free. It is free. And it's just plain and simple. Endorsements. Doesn't take that long to find them, right? Chantay Brown has been endorsed by the following: Peter Aguilera, U.S. Representative; Joyce Beatty; Amon Budish, Troy Carter; Hillary Clinton, former Secretary of State, former First Lady; Richard Conroy, Ted Deutsch, Stacey Plaskett, Kent Smith. She been endorsed by mayors, several mayors. Let's look at a lot of people. City council members. It's like a lot of people. Faith leaders, including some rabbis and some reverend doctors. Also, Congressman Jim Clyburn, we can't forget that one. City and community leaders. Also, some unions and black political action committees, such as the Black Contractors Group, Cleveland Building and Construction Trade Council, Democrat Majority for Israel, the Ohio State Association of Plumbers and Pipe Filters, Labor's Local 310, Journey Plumbers and Union Local 55, Ohio Freedom of Federation of Teachers, Run Sister Run, and Tri-City Democratic Club. So there's like about damn near almost 100 people that endorsed Chantay Brown altogether. And also Marsha Fudge's former Congresswoman, now Secretary Fudge's mother. So Chantay Brown has a lot of endorsements. It's no reason for her to lie about her endorsements, right? But apparently Nina's online supporters, continue to push out nothing but lies and conspiracy theories and a whole bunch of bad rhetoric. And more so, it's white men and white women on the left. That's to say, you never trust, like the white progressives are the same as white conservatives and white moderates, right? They're just toxic as Karens and Chads. But I'm going to say this. Chantay Brown is a formidable candidate. She is a candidate that will deliver. She will be the congresswoman to vote for key legislation and not hold shit up. She has a diverse coalition of people that's supporting her campaign. She has the former First Lady, former Secretary of State, and former 2016 presidential candidate on the Democratic side. She has the number 3 Democrat in the House of Representatives, the highest ranking black man, the former congresswoman of that district, her mother. She has the head of the Congressional Black Caucus and local leaders and local unions endorsing her, and other congressmen and congresswomen endorsing her. So why the hell would she have to lie? Well, like I said, Nina Turner's campaign, and even Nina Turner herself, desperate as hell. I mean, honestly, if you want me to keep it funky, Nina Turner is not to be trusted. And I said this time and time and time again. For the last 5.5, well, damn it, 6 years, Nina Turner has been disrespectful to the Democratic platform and the party itself. When it came down to Hillary Clinton being the presumptive nominee, Nina Turner decided openly on television as an analyst for MSNBC not to endorse her. Instead, supported the Green Party candidate, Dr. Jill Stein, who ended up being an asset for Russia, who sat with the Russian ambassador and Michael Flynn to fuck with our elections. She benefited from it, for crying out loud. And on top of that, fast forward 4 years later, Nina Turner said about the presumptive nominee then, Joe Biden, voting for him and supporting him was like eating a half bowl of shit. She spoke at the People's Convention back in August of last year. 4 months later, she decided to run for Congress and switch her whole platform, her whole damn platform, to appeal to the voters of Cleveland. Why she just couldn't run on the rhetoric and the record that she's been saying for the last 5-6 years. Because why? It's not going to work with the people of Cleveland. Both Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden won that district by large numbers. So why the hell Nina Turner think that she's going to win that district? Just because you're the daughter of Cleveland doesn't mean anything. People see the way you acted for the last couple years. And there's videos. There's a whole bunch of receipts. And I have put them out. And I will be putting out more. Because Nina Turner needs to be exposed. The truth needs to come out. Nina Turner is for Nina Turner. And that is why she doesn't belong in our legislative body. She could do other things. She's very smart. She can be a commentator again. She can have a podcast. But to be in our Congress, nah. Nah. No. Never ain't gonna happen. So if I was people of Cleveland, I would not vote for that. And that's all I'm saying. She's a grifter and a half. She hasn't been in my whole town for 5. Yeah. People see the way she acted. And that's another thing. People getting on me because, oh, you're from New York and da-da-da-da-da. Okay, my election was local. Nina Turner is running for a federal seat that's going to impact the whole entire United States of America. That's the one thing that Dr. C was right about. New York elections, like New York City mayor elections, has nothing to do with the country. It has to do with the city. Not even the state. The city. So, I know people wanted Maya. And Maya was, a good choice. But Maya messed this up herself. It was her race to win. And she did not follow strategy. She took advice from people that is not from the city. And she knows better. She knew better. Because she worked in the de Blasio administration. She know people hated her boss. Why would you run on a progressive record when your former boss was a progressive and they hate him? Both sides of the aisle hate him. Even some progressives themselves hate him. You knew better. But back to this whole thing with, congressional seats are important because they impact the United States of America. Mayor elections is local. That's something we got to deal with. And who's to say Eric Adams might end up being a good mayor because New York City for the last 28 years has shitty mayors. From Giuliani down to Bill de Blasio. Bill de Blasio ended up being a shitty mayor. The minute he didn't put the police union in their place, I was like, no. The only reason why I voted for him again, because there was no other Democratic nominee at the time. And no Democrats was not going to run against him. But now we had a choice, and the choice was made. There's nothing you could do about it. Yeah, your district was impactful. It was impactful for the 2020 elections. Thank God. And even in 2016, even though Hillary didn't win, it was impactful. I know my state was impactful. Because my state don't like Donald Trump. It never did. We told y'all about the bastard. Nobody listened to us. But yeah, congressional races are federal. That's important. Because key legislation affects the whole country. And even some freaking territories as well. Even though they can't vote. But it affects territories. So the simple fact is, I get to comment on that. Yeah, like I said the same thing. New York, that's like with New York City. New York City is very democratic. Indeed. I see that. That was like with Eric. Eric Adams in our city had great momentum. And the reason why is because he went to the projects. He went to senior centers. He went everywhere. Like, the man went everywhere. The man went to places where nobody else went. Like, with Catherine Garcia did not go to the hood. Maya was going to the hood in the beginning, and she stopped. Ray McGuire, you see him here and there, but Eric was everywhere. Eric was here. And Bill de Blasio, quiet as a kept, is mad. The current mayor, because Eric Adams was invited to the White House and his ass wasn't. That's because Bill de Blasio talked a lot of shit about Joe Biden. And it came to bite him right in the ass. Because guess what? Eric Adams came to the White House. Yup. So Eric Adams has a friend in our president. And, you know, even though our governor's going through stuff with his own personal stuff, you know, you got to be able to work with the governor. And Bill de Blasio did not work with our governor in the beginning. So now you got a mayor that can work with two parties. And Eric Adams wasn't even looking for no endorsement from not the mayor nor the governor. He ran a very effective campaign. So all these little gentrifiers, they mad because they might end up being moving out of here because they're the reason why, like, the city costs so much money. And why people that had rent control apartments had to move. Because nobody didn't want to fix their apartment. They fixed apartments for the gentrified folks. But that's all I'm saying. Progressive Gary Chambers lost in a landslide to a moderate Troy Carter. Then they were pumping up so much money into progressive candidates down in New, and he still lost. Yup. But I'm gonna wrap this up because it's getting late and I'm tired. But I will see you next week. Have a good night. Take care.